Hey, if you are thinking about buying a house and you're holding off because you feel like your credit is not good enough, stop right there. I've helped a lot of families get into their houses when they think they couldn't because their credit was not that great. I'm Jose Mejia, real estate agent and mortgage pro out of Florida, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is you need to do to get yourself in a position to buy a house. So you probably heard it all, right? You need a 700 credit score to buy a house, or you need to pay off some of the old collections that you've had in the past in order to buy something. Or maybe you're basing your credit score qualifications off your credit karma because you think that's the right way to go. They're all wrong. And maybe that's the reason why you're still renting. I'm going to go ahead and drop this video and give you some secrets of things that actually will help you and get you a lot closer to purchasing the home that you want to purchase in the next 12 months. All right, so your path to home ownership starts by understanding how your credit score works and really debunking a lot of these credit misconceptions that we tend to hear from different people, whether it's some of our friends, some of our loved ones. But the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what is a credit score. The main thing about a credit score is this. It's basically the idea that when you borrow something, what patterns and behaviors do you show in your ability to pay it back? Now, it's not just about paying it back, it's about paying it back on time. What matters the most when it comes to actually getting your credit scores increase as fast as possible? The very first thing that we need to talk about is the payment history. Now, when I'm talking to you, you're going to be in different situations. Some of you guys maybe don't have any credit established at all. Some of you guys have some credit established, but still looking to improve your credit scores. And then there's others that maybe had credit, had it tainted, and are trying to figure out exactly how to get those credit scores back. This is going to be perfect for you. So you're going to want to make sure you pay attention. The payment history is everything. So if you are someone who has not established credit, you can't show any kind of payment history. Therefore, you have to start displaying this kind of history by securing a credit card, whether it's unsecured or secured, and start making payments on time on that credit card. And what you're going to find out is in a matter of 3 to 6 months, not only will you establish a credit score, but you're going to start seeing your credit score increase little by little. And it's not out of the norm for you to have a 680 credit score after 6 months of you showing that you make payments on time. If you're someone that's in the middle who maybe has a decent credit score, but is looking to increase it, then what I want you to do is I want you to look at your payment history, make sure that everything is in order, and continue paying your payments on time. Now, the credit scoring factor number two is going to be huge for you guys. So make sure you pay attention when I get to this topic next. If you are someone who's tainted your credit score, maybe you've had some late payments, I want you to know that there's still some hope for you. Now, what's happened has happened. What typically happens with late payments is that the longer they stay on your report, the less impact they have on your credit scores. So the main thing here is make sure you don't have any more late payments from here on out. And some of those late payments that might be on your credit report, make sure that they age, give it time to heal a little bit. And while it's healing with time, make sure you continue making payments on time with any credit that you do have. Credit scoring, number two, the factor number two that's super duper important is the balance on the actual loan. So the amounts owed, right? This accounts for 30% of your score. So the payment history accounts for 35%, and the amounts owed actually accounts for 30%. And if you think about this, this is 65% of your credit score. That's massive. Now, if you have high balances, you are likely not tapping into the credit scoring factor number two, which is the amounts owed. If you are someone who's starting with new credit, when you are making those payments with your new credit, make sure that you're paying in full every single time. Because what you're going to do now is you're tapping into not just paying on time, but you're also tapping into the second thing, which is keeping those balances low or to zero to begin with. If you are someone in the middle that has established credit, I want you to look at your revolving cards, your revolving credit, which is basically credit cards. I want you to prioritize these specific accounts and I want you to look at the balances of those credit cards and start trying to figure out which of these balances are at a 30% or higher mark. These are the credit card balances that you want to start lowering it under 30%. And then the second tier is start lowering it under 10% to the point where you get to eventually get to a zero balance. What you're going to find out is that once you start lowering it to those different tiers, you're going to start seeing your credit score increase month by month. And that's going to be the biggest thing that you can do. Number three, for the person that is tainted with their credit, has had late payments, the main thing here is to establish new credit. Let the stuff that is damaging you, let that kind of heal itself. Make sure you have a credit card that you are utilizing, whether it's a secured credit card, an unsecured credit card, whatever you may have. Make sure that you keep those balances in check and continue paying on time, because as you're tapping into the potential of your credit scores on that account, the stuff that was affecting you is affecting you less and less, and you're going to start seeing your credit scores increase. Now, the remaining three is a lower impact on your credit scores, but we are going to talk about them. The length of your credit history. Most people, when they've had their credit 7 years and higher, and they've been doing a fantastic job of making their payments on time and keeping their balances low, these are typically the audience that typically have the 800 credit scores or higher. A credit mix is when you have a revolving account and an installment account. And as I mentioned before, credit cards, they are revolving, and student loans, auto loans, these are considered installment accounts. And really, the difference between the two is this: when you pay off to a zero balance, a revolving account, that account does not close, it stays open. With an installment loan, once you've made that last payment, that account is going to close within the next month or two. Meaning the algorithm of Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, when they're looking at these accounts, they're going to say that you've done a great job paying that installment loan. But once you've paid it to zero, they can no longer predict your future behavior on that specific credit. Therefore, this is the reason, top secret stuff here. This is the reason why revolving accounts, credit cards, always take priority in getting your credit scores higher, because they stay open, meaning the credit bureaus, they can predict your payment history on these accounts because you're keeping it open. Now, a lot of people think that if you apply for new credit, that that might hurt your credit scores. And in some cases it might. It just really depends if you are over abusing it, right? Now, if you're someone who doesn't apply for credit, then there's no way the bureaus can give you some kind of measurement and dictate what your credit scores could be, because you're not actively borrowing anything. So, if you are someone who is being responsible and from time to time applying for new credit, then just know that it can help you and not necessarily hurt you. So these are the top 5 credit myths that I constantly hear. We're going to go ahead and debunk them together so that you can understand that some of these things shouldn't bother you. Number one, paying your debts automatically make those accounts disappear. Now, listen, when you pay off an account, it's to zero balance. It doesn't necessarily get removed from your credit report. It just gets updated on that credit report as a zero balance. It actually stays on your credit report 7 years from the date of last activity. So if you pay off a collection, don't think it's going to get removed unless you have something formally in writing from the collection agency telling you that it will get removed if you make the payments. Other than that, just know it's going to stay on the collection. Other than that, just know it's going to be on your credit report. Debunking number Debunking myth number two: the highest balances get paid first. Now, listen, this might be financially a strategic tool and it could be super helpful for you. But for the purpose of getting your credit scores higher, the balances on specific accounts matter depending on what they are. We talked about credit cards being a lot more important than, let's say, a $10,000 personal loan. So if you have a $500 credit card with a $400 balance, that's going to take priority over a personal loan of $10,000. Why, you ask? As we mentioned before, the revolving credit card has a much more of an impact on your credit scores. So you're going to want to tackle that $500 credit limit or that $400 credit balance first and get that to a zero balance to watch your credit scores increase fast. Myth number three is that zero balances are best when paying down your accounts. This is a very gray area. There is no black and white answer. I've seen them both with previous customers where, when doing credit simulations, that when you pay it down to about a $10 balance, it actually helps their credit scores a lot more than paying it to zero. Now, about 70% of the time, this holds true, but there are some other circumstances that when you pay it to a zero balance, it helps as well. The safest thing you can do is keep it down to a $10 balance, see what it does to your credit scores, and if it gets you to your goals, then just maintain it at that point. Myth number four is that checking your credit score hurts you. This is not the case. Now, the caveat to this is that if you are abusing how many inquiries you have on your credit report, then yes, your credit scores could get hurt. But if you are maintaining a responsible usage of getting your credit scores checked every so often, then no, it's not going to hurt your credit scores. So don't be scared about getting your credit report pulled a couple of times. If it's for the same industry, if it's you're shopping for a mortgage and you're getting your credit pulled two, maybe three times, don't feel it's like it's actually going to hurt you as long as you're doing it within a 30-day period. And the last myth is that most people think that rebuilding their credit scores takes years, and that's absolutely false. If you maintain a good credit standing, regardless of what happened in the past, let that old stuff age and it starts having less of an impact on your credit scores, and start establishing new credit with new on time payment history and keeping those balances low on those cards. And what you're going to find out that after a year, maybe an year and a half, you start seeing your credit scores go the opposite direction. They start going up versus going down. So what habits is it that you need to have to make sure those credit scores stays high? Let's go over them together. Low utilization, keep those credit card balances under the 30% credit limit or lower. This is going to help you get your credit scores higher because it does measure for about 35% of your credit score. Auto pay. Make sure you set up the minimum payments on auto pay. You don't want to forget to make that payment on time because, again, this is the second biggest piece of what you can do to get your credit scores higher and fast. It's a lot better to make the minimum payment than versus missing the payment and it actually affecting your credit scores, because that's actually something that's very difficult to recover from. And then a credit monitoring service. You want to stay informed of any changes that might be going in your credit report, whether it's good or bad. And then last but not least, be very selective with the accounts that you want to open strategically. Make sure you know what the purpose is and is it helping you or hurting you. So if you notice, credit scoring is nothing to really be afraid of, because once you've kind of understood what things make your credit scores tick, it becomes a lot easier to build a path towards home ownership. And now that you've learned a little bit about this information about what can help you, now you can start moving forward towards that plan. And don't let those credit myths stop you from renting your home versus spending thousands of dollars in renting. Make sure you put the comments below with any questions you have regarding credit scoring.